Hey guys, it is September 17th. We're having our weekly meeting, TruWest Realty Group. Got a couple things we will be covering today. We've got the big week rate updates. This is supposed to be happening tomorrow. That's going to affect, we'll talk a little bit about what that looks like. I've got some investor loan options I think would be really clever for you guys looking for extra business. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And then I've got a real estate panel that I'm going to lead in about 2 months with really high level agents that sell a ton of real estate. I need to get topics for them, something I'm looking at doing. And and I've got a couple of other things regarding new builds and how to turn maybes into yeses. I think that's going to create some opportunity for you guys. So um, I am in the I do some project management. We do have some, I wouldn't call them flips. Some of them are just renovations or we step in and interact and do things. And then Joey, you said you've got a product. Are you currently using it? What do you call it? Company cam?
Yeah, it's called Company Cam.
Okay.
Basically, it's for construction and real estate investment. Um, Starting with the bid process, I can go through a house and take pictures as I go and talk. And then at the end, it will actually, AI will pop in and it'll actually create the entire scope.
Yeah.
Other things it could be used for is myself not having to go to houses over and over again to check on the any updates. And then because the guy I've got Texas Build Construction that's been doing the houses, he can go in and he can just go around and take pictures of everything, pop them in, and then I can see an update. And then I can also, I like this part too, is that I can go in near the end, instead of putting blue tape everywhere, I can actually take a picture of the spot. So if it's like a piece of drywall that's broken, I can take a picture of that and I can actually put it as a task for the contractor to do and use that as my blue tape. I can make them have to take a picture whenever it's done. That way, you know, I can see it. If you want to see what it looks like, I can share my screen real fast.
Okay. I'm sharing screens. I'm at their website, but we can have you
I'll
show
show
us
you
what
the
you've got on.
Yeah, I'll show you
So
the
did you do it
account.
on the last project?
I have 3 projects going on right now, and I have them all in there.
Yeah, you can share screens now.
Okay, and remind myself how to do this. Share. Here we go. Share screen. We don't want to see you. We want to show this one. All right. Can you see it?
Yeah, I kicked my video off again. I got to check what that setting is, but yeah, I can see it.
I still see you. So, real quick, this will give you a good idea. So, this project right here, 500 Saddle Trail, this was a house that Shane went and walked. So, he walked it. I can look at all the pictures and come up with a bid on the house. And I didn't have to be there. Photo quality's good. Go through. That's a big number, right?
Yeah, I mean, that needs considerable work.
So, Echo Trail, this is the one that's coming up. This is, my investor was out last week, so he went through and took a bunch of pictures with basically my to-do list. And then, so I have a demo guy that's doing this house right now. And instead of him having to come out to the house, I was able to just take all these pictures and then make him a collaborator right here, 444 demo. So I made him a collaborator. And now he can just, without going to the house, he can give me a bid on his demo.
Ah.
And then you got a bunch of other stuff you can do.
So Devonshire is the one I brought to you. Was it cleared out?
For the most part, I got a pit boss out of it.
You got some flip flops?
A pit boss.
A pit boss. Oh, like a grill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So instead of putting in text, I can tell everybody where the stuff is. So this is the other one we have in Carrollton. And I went through here, took pictures of all over the place and created some notes
Have you got a
later
lender
on.
now? Because I've got some other properties. I mean, I've gotten some good ones that come up. I just haven't given them to you.
Yeah, he's about ready, but I've got another guy too. So yeah, send me stuff.
Okay. When I see good ones like Carrollton or Plano, or they look pretty clean,
That's good.
I'll get you in on it.
But yeah, you see right here the collaborators part. So these are all the people that are on this project. So the demo guy, this is the contractor, and then this is my investor. So everybody can see the pictures, and you don't have to go to houses over and over again. And I know that's something you don't like to do.
Yeah, I don't go to houses even once.
But like this is a good way for, if you and Fred or Fred wanted to do it with um, the contractors that are out there. I'm gonna do it for a blue tape on Echo at the end of next week or beginning of next week, and I can kind of show you what that looked like.
Very
There's
nice.
a lot of stuff you can do with it. It's pretty cool.
All right, awesome. All right, well, let me keep going. Get too bogged down on project management. We use a project management software. I tell you, you're paying monthly for it.
Yeah, it was. I paid for the year. It was like $1,000.
Okay. It's really kind of a photo editing software that allows you to kind of attach projects to the photos and collaboration.
Yeah.
And everybody's using it.
Yeah. So far.
Well, that's good. You just never know they'll use it or not. All right, I'll read briefly. Eddie's been sending these weekly updates on rates and things like that, and they've been pretty interesting. I've been kind of following them. Most of them are, from Friday the prior week, so they're a couple business days behind. But the last one he sent last Friday, I'll read it briefly. It's a foregone conclusion that the Fed will be cutting rates on Wednesday. I think we all know that. That's tomorrow. As exciting as that might sound, the mortgage rate has already repeated or reaped the reward. So we've talked about where interest rates are already set, and we may still have some small adjustments, but the main cuts have kind of happened already, at least in from the bond market, passing on to our borrowers that are buying houses. And if you like to understand the simple nuts and bolts, he's got some pretty good graphs in here that talk about the numerous occasions as examples when mortgage rates have fallen before and moved higher after the Fed has cut the fund rate. So sometimes it might even have a reverse effect. I kind of feel that the supply is going to increase, where there are now people that get that message, oh, the rates are less, we're going to jump in and start buying. I feel like over the next week or two, I'm going to get more traffic on my listings that are not moving. Yeah, I got something wrong with my camera. I think it just keeps kicking off. I have to mess with it. It keeps kicking me off. Anyway, so
Have
that's
you shut down everything and turned it back on?
I haven't yet. I noticed that it was cutting off my Tuesday meetings before, but I pulled on it the other day and it might have shortened it. Oh no. Yeah, just kicked off again. It's really annoying.
Take off your background.
And it could be as dumb as I'm running out of memory on this computer too.
That's true.
I've been running out for a long time. I've been clearing everything off, and it starts giving you all kinds of strange problems. All right, let's keep going. So I think there's a chance that we may see a slight bump down because the competition is really going to hype up the traffic. When you get more buyers out there, that supply sometimes will try to offer discounts to, to take advantage of it. So, or they have volume. I mean, they just have the volume coming in. So I wanted to share one thing. This has been pretty hot for me over the last, 4 weeks now. I'm gonna end up with probably somewhere around 8 or 9 new builds, and I just keep getting them. I keep getting them. I keep getting them. And what happens is I would have, and I look back this morning, I started looking at what I have currently in the pipeline, and I would think probably about 80% of them would not be buying a house if I didn't give them a new build deal. Okay. That's really important, distinctive, meaning they would stay on the fence. Okay. That's really kind of been a big win, figuring out how to make use of what these new build incentives are. I mean, when you're able to get mortgage rates, sometimes 1.99, 2.99, and those are typically a 3-1 buy down on the new build. It's a little bit of bait and switch with it. But I have all of my clients, I'm trying to put on 30-year loans in the 4s. Okay. And I'm getting consistently from DR Horton to Lennar to Trophy to I just picked up a new lender that's partners with some of these, and he's able to offer really, really competitive options. So what new builds has done for me is it's turning a lot of my people sitting on the fence as maybes into yeses. Really, really done a great job at that. If you've got people on the fence, I have people that are coming to me and I know that their situation's not going to be conducive to them being able to buy a home. But if their credit score is just high enough and maybe they don't have a down payment. Now, some of these building communities are on the outskirts, but I've got some that are right under 200,000 for a new build, but most of them are floating about 250 to about 280, 290, almost all of my closings. That's super, super cheap on a brand new home. And some of them are fitting in the USDA locations. So they're able to get USDA loans on them. And some of them are down payment assistance. And you can do other things like that. But the big reason it's working is because those interest rates, if you get them in the 4s, all of a sudden now you have a payment you can afford. That's a big, big difference. When you're sitting in the 6.5 to 7s, it's still very painful. Because at that point, you're paying anywhere from about $700 to $1,000 more a month to be able to live in a house that you own on a mortgage payment versus paying the equivalent rent. So that's been a big win. I'm going to keep giving you updates on this because I continue to get more and more opportunities with that. For those of you that work with investors, there are new builds that are desperate to sell. They're open to taking investors directly. Okay. So for example, DR Horton, in a couple of the communities I'm working in are offering 15% down, 5% loans for investors. Okay. 15% down, 5% long-term 30-year notes for investors. I'm actually creating a package with a DHI is the mortgage company for DR Horton. I'm actually working on a package option for investors to do 15% down because I have, lenders that are not attached to builders that can do 15% down loans. So I'm working on putting together that. And for an example, I have 15% on a new build. He's roughly about $40,000 down, and he's gaining 12.5% equity return every year on a brand new house. Okay. Meaning that, and we're not making cash flow. We're just covering our note with the rent, but that house now is earning him about 12.5%. So in about 2 to 3 years, that full investment that he put in, he'll have back in equity. All right. And then it's a brand new house, right? There's no reason why he couldn't get 10 years out of it. So that same investment will make him far more money. I mean, that's 120,000 in 10 years on a $40,000 investment. So it's some pretty cool things that we have options for investors to look at, multiplying their opportunities, building net worth without a lot of the risk. So anyone have thoughts on new builds or working with even new investors that just want to get in the buy and hold game?
So have they changed to where, are they still only allowing a certain percentage of the neighborhood to be sold to investors?
That's a very complicated question. The simple answer is every DR Horton, every Lennar, every Trophy, every Brightonland, every community is different. They all have different requirements. They're going to look at that community and say, hey, we're not selling. Open up 2 houses to investors. Open up. You can sell these houses. I did one Lennar community where they wouldn't allow any of my investors to buy non-garage houses, which is a weird thing. It's under $200,000 for these houses, but they wouldn't let any investor buy those. They wanted to leave those for their because they sell them. I mean, they don't need help selling them. There's that anyone living in an apartment could buy one of those. And they didn't want to give those up to the investors. Yeah, I mean, you'd have a large LLC or something to say, hey, I'll take these 10 and then I'll start renting them out right away for, $1,500 a month. All day, because that's what rents are for apartments. They could easily rent out those houses. So they have restrictions. Every community is different. Some just say, no, we're not interested in this community. And then others are offering incentives for loans directly from the builder on a lower down payment option. So we've got some guys in California and some other investors here that I'm looking at transitioning away from the BRRRR, right? Where you're going to buy, renovate, rent out, refinance, and then repeat. That whole process is going to be a similar type of investment, if not more. And the benefit on the BRRRR is that you actually do have equity to start. When you're doing this builder thing, the only equity you have is your own investment. Okay, so you're not going to gain as much benefit there, but neither one of them are going to cash flow. They're both going to be pretty close to the same on cash flow. They're going to be pretty minimal. You'll have a little less equity on the build. It's just a safer long-term investment. That's the benefit of the new build option.
They have the answer to the stockholders. That's why they're selling.
Well, yeah, I mean, they have a certain amount of houses they've got to sell, and they're going to start. So this is the time of the year for all of you. You better get cycled into that new build option because there is no better time of the year for new builds to give her the big deals. Huge incentives. Every year, I get the same type of incentives from all these big builders. They offer bonuses on commissions. They offer their biggest incentives because they've got to close out the year with a certain number of closings. I've got a couple of communities that are absolutely desperate in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. If you've got anyone in that 300, purchase price range, which is probably 70% of what I think you guys are working with, I think in the general public, they have a hard time breaking in at 6.5%, 7% to get a $300,000 house. It's really hard. They not only have to have the down payment, they got to pay 500 plus more a month to be able to get that mortgage. We have an option for them. They don't have to go through that. It's a very good, I convinced Joseph Ross. Y'all remember Joseph? He's on our team. He's just been focused on his other career for a while, but he's licensed and everything. And I convinced him, I said, dude, you're a single man. Why don't you own a house? Let's go get you one. You've got a license. Take advantage of it. So I worked out a deal with him. I'm going to actually close on it and rebate the entire check back to him. So he has no split, but I encouraged him to look at some specific communities and he did. And now he bought, he's got a house closing in about 2 weeks. And we're going to immediately look at trying to rent that thing out. And then we'll do it again a year later. We'll do it again a year later. I mean, why not? We're in the business of real estate. Make it a part of your net worth as well. Any questions on buying investment properties or new builds? I'm telling you, for your retail buyers, USDA down payment assistance, we can get past the cash to close. And that interest rate is really a big incentive. They just got to have, I would say high 6 would be a good place to start. If you have a high 6, we can generally solve most problems, and, have a job for more than 6 months, right? Some other basic things, but most of our buyers should be falling into that space. In about 2 months, I'm going to do less than 2 months now, probably a month and a half. I'm going to do a real estate panel at the wine club here in South Lake. I've been trying to organize this for a little bit. I'm working with Excel Title. They're going to find 3 or 4 other agents that sell a lot of real estate that have a brand or a name that people would know. I want to have them all out and I want to host a panel session with them asking about really hot, popular topics. And I want to have 100 people there. Like I want to make it a big event. I like to do it quarterly. I think you do it monthly, it loses the sting of people wanting to come, but quarterly, I think it would attract quite a few people. And it's a really cool setting. We're actually going to do the wine club tomorrow. I think I've sent you guys the invite. It's basically looking at investing in notes versus houses. Guys ever looked at things like that before? It's all about leveraging notes without owning it and not having it control you. It is tomorrow, right, Fred?
Oh, yeah, what's that?
Okay, every time okay, here it is. Yeah, 1 o'clock, the wine club. So it's about note buying instead of actually buying and flipping houses. A lot less risk, a lot safer, probably creates about the same return with a whole lot less stress. It'd be something I would definitely, Joey, if you're interested, it'd be something I definitely would encourage you to check out. 1 o'clock, 1 to 3 tomorrow, wine club in South Lake. So we're going to host my real estate panel there. So if you have any topics that would be helpful, that would be of real value for you to know as an agent, that we can ask other high performing agents, what are y'all doing to deal with X, with Y, with election, with interest rates, with, I mean, whatever the hot things that are, or the BAC thing. I'm sure that affects everybody's business somewhere. I think those are some obvious ones, but do y'all have anything beyond some of that? I would really like to solicit some of your feedback on some topics, unless anyone has a topic they want to throw out right now.
The only thing that I keep hearing about is homeowners insurance is skyrocketing, and it's like putting people out of their homes, like disqualifying them. Like I followed one person and I saw a post that said that they just had a buyer back out of a deal because they found out the homeowners insurance for the year was like $7,000.
Off all the bells and whistles, get them.
So yeah, I know that's a hot topic right now, is the homeowners insurance rates are skyrocketing.
100%. I just had one in Lantana, which is a big master plan community close to where I live. And they were quoted $700 a month on a house that's worth about, I think we sold it for about 800-ish, and it had a pool and it's on a pond. And I said, well, I told him, I said, well, I think your insurance company thinks it's on the ocean, on a fault line near a volcano. Let's check that one again. So we ended up getting quotes. We got it all worked out, but incredible, 700 a month. Are you kidding me? So one thought to fix that, and I've done this, you guys know Dan Seiler, or most of you probably do. I've kind of been working with him, and he's quoting all of my stuff for me. And he probably gets about 1 in 3. He'll get an insurance policy. So he's done pretty well. He's just been hamstrung. Like he joined insurance about 2.5 years ago, and he came in at the worst possible time, right? It's when all these claims happen with all these natural disasters. So insurance, a lot of them are just getting out of Texas altogether. He can't even just openly quote with anything. But one of the things you can do is you can strip a policy down to lender minimums and then come back and shop it after. All right. We have to get to a certain DTI ratio on your monthly payment in order to hit that. That's actually what I just did on a new build with one of my investors. He's buying. Dan quoted him. The DR Horton quoted insurance was $95 a month, which isn't that high. Normally, insurance from construction companies typically come in pretty low. We ended up saying, I told him, consider doing a 5% deductible, which means you're not going to get any coverage on your roof for the first year. Chances of us replacing a roof in the first year are probably pretty limited. And it got him down to $75 a month. At some point, we're going to change it over to what we call a landlord policy or a fire policy with a proper deductible for the roof. I think 2% we could probably get some significant value out of. You're getting 0 or 1%. The premiums are just so outrageous, right? So that's kind of a way that we've worked through that. And you just got to remember, make sure you come back and adjust that rate. I had to do that on one of my investment properties on something called a DSCR loan, which means that I have to cover the rent. The rent has to cover the total mortgage, and my insurance was quoted so high it exceeded my debt service coverage, is what they call a DSCR. So I ended up having to give a really terrible policy that we come back and put in proper insurance afterwards. So that's one way to kind of work through that. Does that make sense, Nikki?
Yes. I know DSCR loans are kind of hard to get because of the interest rates right now.
Well, if you're in the eights, you can do okay. If you actually, my DSCR guy's at 15% down, he's at sevens, which is really good.
That's good.
Yeah, yeah, and he can do loans anywhere in Texas. He's in the sevens on a 15% down, and he's got a really good 25%. I'm dissecting his product because I've got about 15 investors that I'm going to take his product with an exact house and post it out there. I want to go ahead and right now, what I can, I'm going to stimulate some investor build houses, build purchases. You know, if that's the only thing I can sell right now, I'm going to sell it. I'm going to sell all I can. But HOA is a good topic that's come up and affects our business. It's not a real estate agent specific topic, but it does affect our homeowners. It prevents transactions from closing, and it certainly is not helping us close any better. So I like that one. That's a new topic I have not thought about introducing. Anyone else have a topic they think of that would be a really good topic? Okay. Well, I'll come back to you. Text me, call me if y'all have anything else. I might even do HOI and a training deal for, our weekly thing. I might even bring that in or have Dan talk about it. You know what? Let's have Dan in here. 5 minutes. How's it going? What's the deal? He'll give you the pros and cons because he has to compete with a lot of people. I think that's a good idea. All right, last thing, if we have, and this is just for the general public, this is just good, clean, easy. I did a video this morning, it's 40 seconds. And I wanted to go ahead and get it out there now that we have the interest rate effectively dropping 1/4 to 0.5%. The general public doesn't know it's already gone into effect, but we can go ahead and educate them and flow with it as a marketing. And on $400,000, which is probably roughly about the average house, if you have a 0.5 point drop on your interest rate with just 5% down, you're going to save 40,000 in interest and about $150 a month on your mortgage. So it's just something for people to wrap their head around the impact, right? Now they went from not being able to afford a loan, $150 a month is a big drop in the mortgage payment for them. Or they pay the same and they get $40,000 more house, right? There's other ways to kind of think about it. But anyway, I think that's a good thing to check out. I posted on Instagram, it'll get funneled to my Facebook. So that's a good way to kind of get your hands around it to kind of explain to your buyers the impact that it has. So any other questions or anything else with the interest rate and things like that right now? All right, quickly, Joey, you've got a house next week. You got anything this week that's coming up?
Nope, still got South Dallas house. The Echo house. Should be really, I'll tell everybody that it should be really good for open houses next weekend. There's a house that's sold, that's under contract right now for $760. Very similar to our house. We're gonna be listed at $610. When I went to that $760, there was I went to the open house. There was 5, 6 groups walking through at a time.
Wow, very good. Maybe sometimes the price just brings in that buyer, right? And sometimes it skips you. It's weird how they won't even look at it. I'm not going to buy a 690 house. I want an $800,000 house.
Yeah.
That's good.
So no, that one should be really, really good. I'm guessing that one's gonna be pretty high traffic.
Very good. Um, I've got I have 280 acres up in Clarksville, which is east of Paris, Texas. East of Paris, Texas. It's got They're baling hay, 33,000 a year and hay, and then it's got a number of barns. It's probably worth, I would say, if you appraised it, I would think maybe 2.5 million, something like that. She's willing to take 2 million right now to get out of it. I'm going to create kind of a supplemental thing. I'm going to post it out there. If any of you know farm and ranch buyers, um, it doesn't have upside, because you get 3.5 if you went out there, maybe, but I don't know buyers that are going to chase out in Clarksville to do something like that. It's really someone that wants acreage, they want farm, they want cattle because it has cattle space in it, and they have hay that they bale. That's the opportunity for this. Obviously, it's all ag exemptions and stuff. So any of you know farm and ranch, I'm going to be probably doing photos next week on it. And then seeing
Send
what I
it to
can do.
me.
Huh?
Send it to me. I know someone that might be interested in that.
Yeah.
A couple actually.
Are you paying a BAC?
Yeah. Fred's asking, is there a BAC on it? Well,
Yeah, how about Joey's? There's got a BAC?
yeah. Joey, I'll get you paid. I 3% is no problem.
Joey's list.
Plano?
Yeah.
You got a BAC on your Plano listing?
Yep. 3%. The other one, I'm gonna try a strategy on your Devonshire house you gave me though.
What are you gonna do?
Well, market says 585 for the house. I'm gonna post it at 565. And I'm not going to
No
have a
BAC?
BAC on it.
You're not gonna offer a BAC?
No. I'm gonna see what it does for traffic. Especially at open houses and stuff.
Is that what we had for ARV on that one?
I had 585.
Yeah. I guess, yeah. I mean, you're in the driver's seat.
That was
The buyers will want to see it and they'll force their agents to show it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. That was about 3.5, 4 weeks out.
Well, very cool. All right. Well, we are 11:40, so let's wrap it up. If you got anything else anyone wants to share before we jump off? All right. Well, have a high performance week. Let me know if you need anything else from me. Thank you, guys.